Today we're working on a 2016 Chevy Colorado. Should be the same for a GMC Canyon. We're going to be changing the front strut assemblies. So step 1, take the wheels off. Step 2 or 3, you can either start with the tie rod end so you can swing the tie rod out of the way, or the sway bar link. Tie rod end is 21 millimeter. The sway bar links is 15 millimeter nut on top. You can throw a wrench on there. And then I'm going to use my impact 13 millimeter down on the bottom. But I need both hands for that, so won't get this on video. Okay, on the tie rod, you want to get the nut screwed back down where it's flush with the end of the stud there, and just tap that off. Move this out of the way, and then we're going to go to the other side and take the sway bar link out, and then we'll be able to rotate the sway bar down or out of the way. Down, looks like. All right, we will go ahead and loosen up the sway bar brackets just a little bit. Next, we'll pull the bottom strut bolt out. It's a 21 millimeter. A little bit of tension on that bolt. And then we will go up top to the 3 nuts on the strut tower. All right, these are 18 millimeter, and they're going to be slow, because I don't have a ratcheting wrench and there's a bunch of garbage above them, so you can't really get to them from the top unless you want to take a bunch of things out of the truck, which I do not. All right, I ended up taking the sway bar bracket bolts out so that I could drop it down and rotate it up. They wouldn't rotate in the bushings for me, so that should give you enough room to push down on the knuckle and let this fall out. Keep it in the same orientation so you can make sure your new one goes back in the same way this one came out. Push down on the knuckle and work the new one up into the holes there. And then start your nuts. Get those down snug so that it pulls the strut up to the tower. And that way when you push down on the knuckle, the tower doesn't fall any, because you need the knuckle to come down and line up with the bottom bolt hole. I didn't want to unhook any of the control arm stuff, so I used a pipe for leverage. I slid it right underneath, above the control arm, underneath the CV axle, and then underneath the frame right there where my finger is, and pressed down clear out here by my lift arm to get enough leverage to push the control arm down far enough to get that bottom bolt in. So if you don't have a pipe to use to get that much leverage, you might just want to take your upper control arm ball joint loose, and then the knuckle will fall low enough to get that bolt in without any issue. In fact, you might even have to use a jack to raise it up to get it to the right location. But anyway, repeat the process for the other side, and then you can reinstall sway bar brackets first, then your links, then your tie rod end. A jack stand like this comes in handy whenever you're doing suspension components, because you can place it underneath the control arm if you have a lift. If not, you can use just a floor jack, push it under the control arm. That's how you get things back together. So you can put in your strut bolt down here at the bottom, or you can put your sway bar links back in, because they have to be kind of compressed before you can get the nut back on. The sway bar's got to be pushed down towards the control arm, or the control arm has to be lifted up. Anyway, so you tighten down your sway bar link and your tie rod end, and the bolts back for your sway bar, and that's the end besides putting the wheel back on, but I'm not going to show that. If you made it this far, you can reinstall the wheel. That's how you do struts on a Chevy Colorado or GMC Canyon, multiple years. This one's a 2016. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.